As a professional illustrator, I do nearly all of my illustration work on an iPad. I've been working digitally exclusively for quite a while now, but even when I'm working digitally, I try to emulate a more analog workflow, and I still love trying to take my work and make physical versions of that. One of my favorite ways to do that is making zines or prints. And I've been working on this SpongeBob zine where it's just ridiculous SpongeBob puns. And I wanted to figure out a way to make these zines a more handmade, imperfect, special, limited thing by using this old Print Gocco machine that I've been holding on to forever. I used to use this thing a lot, but I haven't used it in a really long time because supplies are limited. So the Print Gocco is this Japanese sort of like screen printing device that was discontinued almost 20 years ago. But in this video, I'm gonna use it to print the line work for the cover. And I'm gonna walk you through the process, trying to remember how to use it, hoping things actually still work. So we'll see. Hopefully it goes smoothly, and hopefully we can get these zines done.
Previously on
SpongeBob zine.
Zines, the one sheet method.
What is it, like checkers?
No, really, it's a better game than checkers. Two sides. One is light, one is dark.
Boop! Weird SpongeBob puns. A Runge Bob.
Do you want to know a secret?
Wu-Tang is for children. Dirty Pants, SpongeBob Burgers, and Sponge Blob. Sponge corn on the tub. Cob. Sponge cob.
How about we talk about that other thing?
Toot.
Crazy!
Okay, so before we get into the Gocco printing bonanza, just a couple things that I want to address from the last video. First, when I did the test print, it didn't work out so well. It's not that great. The artwork was shifted, some of the stuff was off, we had a weird border. I figured out the problem there. It was just in my print settings for my Epson printer. I just needed to check the box for borderless to get rid of that border, and then everything fit perfectly. So there was nothing wrong with the template. It was me just not being careful. And now the other thing. Several times in the last video, I made an inflammatory statement about the Print Gocco. There's cancer in these flash bulbs. I did a little research trying to figure out what the actual issue was, and I couldn't find anything at all. Now, that's not to say that it's not true, but I don't think it is. And I don't know where I heard it. I don't remember where I heard it from, so it may not be true. I looked up why the Print Gocco was discontinued, and it just says, in December 2005, Rizo Corporation announced it would end production of the Print Gocco system due to low sales. Low sales not being death bulbs. So let's get on with the printing shenanigans. All right. I printed a whole bunch of these SpongeBob zines. Wanted it to be like a limited thing. And I printed them one color at a time so that they're, you know, a little unique. I did it to try to like layer the colors, and it has a pretty cool effect. Some of them are shifted a little bit, so there's some imperfection, which I like. For example, this one looks pretty 3D because the red and blue are pretty off. But the plan is to do the line work for the cover using this Print Gocco machine that I haven't used in about 10 years. There's some old supplies, you can't get these anymore, as I mentioned in the last video. Apparently the bulbs, I think it's the bulbs, that are used to expose the screens, I think they have cancer in them. Very dangerous. So hopefully I survive this. I really hope that this works because I printed 30 of these and the covers don't have any line work. They need line work, and this is my plan for it. So if this doesn't work, I'm gonna need a plan B. From what I remember, to use one of these things, we got these like exposure screens. So these are the screens, and we need to use a photocopy to to expose it. So the flash bulbs go off and then they burn the image onto this screen. So I printed out my line work on a laser printer. I couldn't get it to print any darker, so I'm hoping it's dark enough. But we're gonna find out. It's always a little unnerving because these supplies are limited, and once I run out, they're gone forever. There's an arrow on here. As I mentioned, it's been a long time since I've used this. I think that means I just kind of slide this in here. Oh yeah, and then it like clicks down. Perfect. And now I think all I do is just center this in here and make sure it fits within that screen. And then I guess I just have to like eyeball it when I print it onto the other thing. I guess we will cross that bridge when we get there. I think all I have to do now is put some new depth bulbs in here, and then we push down and it makes a cool flash from what I remember. These shouldn't be touching these, I don't think. So this is my hoard of these bulbs that I bought on eBay. I think. I don't remember. I've been hoarding them for a while. I used to print with this thing constantly, but I like stopped because it felt like there was so much pressure because I knew everything I did was one step closer to never being able to print anything again. So I'd be like, do I really want to print this? Is it good enough for that? I think you just sort of twist those in there. Like so. This has a little arrow that you line up with this. And from what I remember, I just have to push down on this and it makes like a flash, and the bulbs, they're like one-time use, so they explode. So let's just do it. Let's see what happens. That worked. That was brighter than I remember. I don't know if I should have looked at that. And let's see if it worked. I'm so nervous. It looks like it worked. Can you see that? I think we got a screen. It looks pretty good. You see that? Look at that. What do you think about that? What we do now is we put ink on the screen, and then you pull this flap down, and then you put it back in, and then you just sort of stamp it onto the zines. I don't know if I should like test it on, well, I guess I could test it on anything first. I don't know. Let's see if, look at that burn. Look at that burn. It smells bad too. I don't know if I should not be smelling that. So this thing is this like rubber thing that it stamps onto is supposed to be sticky so it holds the paper down, but it had run out of stick. So I sprayed it with some spray mount stuff, and it's a little sketchy now. Okay, we're gonna ink this, and then we put it back in here, and then we'll be able to see how it aligns. I think the ink actually might obscure it, so maybe I need to take one of these. I made the perfect accidental goodness. So I was just about to put this in here and thought, oh no, we're not going to have room to do it flat because it's going to be upside down, but I exposed the screen upside down. So it's perfect, I think. Let's see. Oh, never mind, I didn't do that. So now we have a problem. Because this only goes in one way. There's no room. So I have to do them folded, which I don't know if that's bad. And I could just expose a new screen, but I don't want to do that. Because I'll waste it, because that's the real thing. I don't have that many screens left. I only have, this is my last thing. Maybe there's like 4 in here. Let me get one of my test dummies. See, the problem with this is it's not going to be able to be adhesived down. because it's folding. All right, what can we do? Maybe if I just fold them in half, it still doesn't really solve the problem. Let's do a fold. I think my folding bone. I'm trying to be extra careful here so that I do a good job on these. Since these are the ones that are going to be available. Okay, so if get this out of my face, I don't need this anymore for now. If we just do a single fold in half like that, what does this tell me? Oh, okay. So there's this visual that I can see. If I look down and I can see the edge. So if I sort of line that up with that edge, and then I can, this little sticky thing, little sticky pad has like a grid to it. If you get one of these things and there's a tiny Sharpie mark at the top of the cover, it means you got the OG numero uno.
One eternity later.
Alright, I guess I'm gonna do it. I actually have only a little bit of time, so I don't have time to mess up here. But that's usually a recipe for a mistake anyway, so we'll see how it goes. I'm gonna put some paper towel down because I don't want this to squirt through. Of course, I sat on the squeakiest chair in my office. Alright, so from what I remember, I just need to put ink over the areas where the image is. I don't have any black official Gocco ink yet. Is it Gocco or Gocco? Probably Gocco. So I'm using block printing ink. Hopefully that's the same thing. I don't know if that's too much or the right amount, or if this is even gonna work, or what it's gonna do when it touches the coated printer paper. Dropped my folding bone into it, so that was good. This ink looks chonky. We got ink bleeding through over here. This is a bad idea. Okay, so put this back in here. So I'm printing the first one on a, to make sure I don't have ink all over my hands, start touching everything. I do. It's funny because I'm trying to avoid getting fingerprints on here, but yet when I'm using those Rezo brushes, I'm like, oh, let me use that fingerprint effect. So this is one of my test prints where I was trying to get the alignment right. So I'm going to use this to print first. I'm a little worried about like the ink spreading. It seems like it's actually really thick. All right, I know that didn't go well because the ink didn't make it all the way over to some of the line work. So I think I'm gonna have to move that around, but let's see what happened. This looks bad, but maybe it's just because the ink isn't ready yet. Maybe I should have mixed it or something. Are you supposed to mix this kind of ink? It seemed a little weird at first. It's very thick. I don't know if that's a good thing. All right, what am I doing here? We got an emergency. Smelly? Why do I make things difficult for myself? Okay, well, it doesn't look good. I'll keep doing some test prints. I mean, it's getting there. maybe it's just gonna break in. It's getting real close to the edges, makes me a little nervous. It's getting slightly better. I can't tell if the issue is like the screen or what. Maybe we just need to keep going until it gets good. Alright, I'm getting a little better. I mean, maybe this effect is what I want. You know what? I think we're gonna go for it. I think we're gonna go for one. All right, let's see if my alignment system works. So there and that. Okay. Stay in place. Ah, it looks pretty cool. You see that? Can you believe it? Fuck yeah, fuck yeah, fuck yeah. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that on YouTube. We'll bleep it out. We'll do a bleep. I gotta move these. I need a system for placing this stuff. My adhesive is a little sticky. I'm just gonna have to put these all over the office because I don't have room. I think this is looking pretty cool. All right, I'm gonna finish this up and I will check back in with you. So it worked. We got these SpongeBob zines. I went ahead and assembled these. They're each numbered and signed. It's an edition of 30. I got some special clear envelopes that fit these perfectly. Let me just show you how well they fit. Slide it in here. Ooh, look at that. Nice tight fit. And then look at these. They're so cute. These are now available in my shop if you are interested in getting one of these. They were fun to make. Love making stuff like this. Let me know in the comments if you liked watching me go through this process of making something. It's a little bit different than my typical videos. So I'm curious what you thought. If you did like this video, you'll probably like the video where I make a whole bunch of X-Men characters based on SpongeBob characters. I do a style swap, if you will. There's also one with style swapping Wolverine as a Ren and Stimpy character. I want to put those both up on the screen. You can check them out. I think you might like them. Good talk? I don't know, you tell me. Okay, bye.